I mean, yeah. What did you make of it?
I saw a club statement. My eyes lit up. Self-service pumps finally are here. But sadly, no. Um, I read into it at first as more of a, I think a lot of people immediately thought Scally's leaving, and I was a bit too not as optimistic as that. Shall we say? I read into it and I saw that he was taking an extended leave. But it did also say in it that he'll be basically, when he comes off the extended leave, he'll be having to think about what's the best thing to do, and it may end up being go from extended leave to a permanent leave. It's in my opinion, it's a great sign of this club potentially moving forward. We've been, as much as people can say about how Scally saved us back in the day, and we've won some promotions here and there, which are fantastic days too that I was alive for anyway. Obviously, I can't relate to 99 or whatever, but I think you're very naive if you don't open your eyes to the fact that we have been stagnating for a club now for a very, very long time. Like for I think me, Lewis, and Carl are all sort of similar ages, and obviously James is 49, so he goes back. So we sort of all see the club, like from my point of view, I've seen us. So I was born in '98. My first season was in 2007. So I saw us get promoted at Wembley in 2009. Seen us win the league in 2013, and then I've had, I think, 3 relegations in that time as well. So we've seen the ups and downs in that time frame. Obviously, everyone's time frames will be different. It's going to be people listening to this who, are a lot older than us, who've seen us, way back when, and they're entitled to their opinion as well. I'm sure they're probably more inclined to be supportive of Scally than people who have experienced what we have in our times of watching Gills, and that's just the way it is. But I think, as I say, it's very naive to think that we haven't stagnated and we haven't looked like a club who were slowly but surely on decline in the past, decade or so, because we've been we've been just sort of there. There's so many issues we can talk about. The one that always gets me the most is how we've never really capitalised on being the only EFL club in Kent and capitalised on that catchment area. We've never really seemed to do it. It's been something that he's talked about, but nothing really has gone into action with that. And we just seem to be a club that, for so long we're just stagnating in League One. Which, yeah, I get it. It could be worse. You could be, like a County or Aldershot or one of these former EFL teams, Southend, who are now in the conference. But the fact of the matter is, when I go to watch Gills in the past, last few years, it's been just a sense of, well, this is where we are. This is probably where we're going to stay for a while, because there's no clear sign of us going anywhere. But then it slowly but surely started to turn in the other direction last season. And obviously, where it became more apparent towards the end of last year that we were more than likely going to be relegated, that's obviously when fans made their voices heard a bit more, and the anti-Scally chant started to reappear. And obviously, we know what happened. We went down, and even then I didn't really see much of a reaction from him in terms of talking about how we're going to rebuild, we're going to get better. It's Neil Harris who's been doing all the talking on that front. Let's be honest, he's the one coming out saying we need to rebuild this team. The standards need to be better on and off the pitch. It's not Scally who's come out and said that. It's the manager, which for me tells you all you need to know as well. And yeah, we've just been heading in the wrong direction. So I think it is now time. He said it himself. This isn't any of us coming on here and saying that he needs to go because he's terrible, and it's also always thought he can't run a football club anymore. That's not just our opinion. That's something he said himself. He said in his own words that he doesn't feel that he can take the club any further than he already has. So I think it's definitely a good sign in the right direction, that we can hopefully get this new person can bring a bit more stability, and either find investment or be the one to invest himself, and we can actually start looking at this club that we all know and love becoming the club we want it to be again, which is competing and not just existing. Essentially, is how I see it. We exist, and we don't do much else other than that. And obviously, as I say, there's a lot of people who will say, well, it could be worse. Think of this and that and that. He saved us all back in the time, and that's fine. And I read his not his column in the Sun, his interview in the Sun, and that if you're going to match Paul Scally to any publication, I think that would be the one. It came across very, look at me, I'm a bit of a victim. It's everyone else's fault. you know, when the going gets tough, it's someone else's fault. Essentially, that's what it sort of came across to me. And you know, obviously, none of us condone anyone who's, you know, personally abused him or you know, done anything physical or threatened him and his family. Obviously, that's not okay. We should put that out there. These are just our opinions. It doesn't for a minute mean that any of us condone anything like that. Obviously, that's not on. But it came across to me that he liked to point out a lot of the things that were wrong, a lot of the things that he's taken personally, but without actually taking any responsibility for it himself, which is what probably irritated me and a lot of fans the most. It was just a lack of accountability for what's happened to the club over the past, you know, 5 to 10 years. And I think it is hopefully, surely the beginning of a new dawn. I will let Lewis go now because I realise
I was going to say, Lewis, I'm not sure how are you going to follow that up. That was that honestly sounded like a bit of a rousing speech about to become president of some sort of like a group or whatever it is. But Owen, to back you up as well, Steve Baker also agrees with you. Well said, Owen. Supported GFC since 1981, and it's time for a change. And there you go, Ricky as well. 100% Owen, totally agree with you. And then Owen, I think Steve, I think Steve's giving you a bit of a round of applause behind our screen. So
I think I should take back what I said about the older generation. Actually, sorry.
Lewis.